Here's the sitch on the ATL Box Score today. We get right into Avengers Endgame. Yes, this is a sports podcast, but we thought since it's May right now that we would talk about something a little bit different. So we get into that. FYI, spoiler alert, you're going to be walking into some spoilers. But if you don't care like I do, it's all good. I mean, because pretty much the trailer for that movie kind of sort of gives it away. Just saying. Anyways, then after that, we get into some Atlanta Braves talk, being out on the West Coast playing the Dodgers, then the Diamondbacks. So we get into that conversation. And then we get Steve's opinion on what's going on with the NBA playoffs. This is the ATL Box Score podcast, Atlanta's newest sports podcast, and you're listening to Pro Style Thursday. With starting a new podcast, people ask me all the time, Alex, where do you record your show at? Do you do it at your house? No, I don't do it at my house because of just a lot of different logistical factors. The place that I do it at is actually a place called Spaces, Midtown East. And Spaces is a co-working center where I get my show recorded and I get other work done. Co-working has been one of these new phenomenons in the private business sector that has popped up recently. And Spaces also has another brand called Regis, which is more of a professional brand. Spaces is more for creators like myself. But to tell you more about these special brands in the business world is Mr. Steve Choi.
Thanks, Alex. I appreciate those kind words. We absolutely love having you and ATL Box Score as part of our space. It's always great when we see you doing your work. But absolutely, Spaces and the Regis concept, we are both workplace providers here in the Atlanta area, but all around the world. We have over 250 Spaces locations worldwide, plus over 1,500 Regis locations. And what we're really here to do is just provide flexible options for any type of professional, whether you're an independent professional, creative, or if you're a large or small business. So we have several different types of options from small to large and memberships, part-time, full-time. So definitely come on out and check us out. Go ahead and look at the link on Alex's site and ask for Steve Choi. And if you ever come into one of our locations, let us know that Alex sent you or ATL Box Score, and we'll go ahead and set you up with a free 5-day test drive.
Yeah, you can't beat that 5-day test drive. In those 5 days, you will know if Spaces or Regis is the right brand for you. And Spaces is all over the place. They're a little bit more limited, but they're in the main areas of the city. The one we are is right in the heart of Midtown, near the Fox Theater. There's one at the Battery. There's going to be one opening up North Point Mall there. And there's also a location in Colony Square. So they are all over the metro area. At just about any major business building in the Atlanta area has a Regis in it. So just Google them. But Spaces and Regis and Steve Choi in particular is your place to do your business. Well, welcome back to another Pro Style Wednesday. We skipped out and we didn't do our beginning of the week podcast, so this is kind of like, I guess both of them, there really wasn't that much entertaining stuff that happened that we felt like needed a podcast. But hey, if you know sponsors out there, we'd be willing to do a podcast like 5 days a week. If we could, but stuff just doesn't work out that way, unfortunately. But how are you doing, Steve?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
double tasking there. You're playing that NBA 2K.
I'm preparing for tonight's game. I'm trying to give my Warriors some luck. They've lost the last two, and so this is a crucial game 5, buddy.
I was surprised that they lost again. It wasn't too surprising losing that first one on the road, especially the way that it was coming down to the wire, going into overtime.
Yeah. The last one was a close game too, man.
I thought you guys would be taking care of business.
I mean, I thought so too. I guess that's what we both get for thinking.
Steve Kerr, though, it doesn't seem like he likes to go for those, like, sweeps.
Well,
it seems like he likes the gentleman sweep that he'll always, like...
Then again, I think they swept the entire playoffs, except for maybe one game, 2 years ago.
2 years ago? I just remember when they went up against Cleveland and LeBron, and I thought it was, like, game 4. The first game in... No. Yeah, it was like the last game in Cleveland, and I thought like the NBA finals that year would have been over on that Friday night.
Yeah.
And then I was like, dang it. It's not over. I still have to watch on a Monday. I still have to watch on a Monday night.
I know. That always sucks.
Yeah.
It ain't over.
So, I guess we could just kind of put this out there. We're just kind of... I want to say, we're just kind of flying by the seats of our pants.
Yeah, it's a midweek type of feel. Like the week is going by super quick.
It is. It's going by too quick.
That's how it feels for me, at least.
Right.
And then I got stuff to do tomorrow afterwards. The games tonight. We got one good thing is we got to catch up on some Endgame.
I was about to ask. I was gonna be like, what'd you think of Endgame?
Endgame was sick. But when you think about it, it took how many years to make this movie? Like with all the other films that it started with Iron Man, the first Iron Man, when did that come out? Like 2008, 10, something like that?
7?
2007. So basically it took 12 years and I don't know how many movies to make this story relevant. I think that's what people miss out on. Like, you got to hand it to Marvel and Disney for sticking to a plan and having faith in their people to execute, because at any given moment they could have, like when the first, what was it, Thor or something came out, there was one of the movies that didn't do too well and they were like, oh, are we reaching burnout yet? But they stuck to it.
Oh, you reached me on burnout, trust me.
And so but they stuck to it and they kept on making these movies. And then finally they were able to now see, when people watch Endgame, they think, oh, well, they're just watching the sequel to the Avengers. No, they're watching the finale of all these movies tied into one.
Let me put it out this way, because my nerdy friends pretty much were just like, oh, you have to watch all the Marvel movies to watch it to this point and everything.
I didn't.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
Guys, you don't have to do that. You just have to get the context. If you don't get the context of Doctor Strange, which is a movie I didn't really see because...
That was actually a good one. You should watch that.
I'm thinking about going back and watching it.
It's a good one to watch because a lot of the special effects are cool in it. Like the things that he does, like his abilities and stuff, like the Earth is always moving around and all this other weird stuff.
Mm-hmm. I always like going to see the Iron Man movies. Captain America, maybe. I did like Civil War.
I like the Winter Soldier. That's still my favorite.
The stuff though in space and with Thor, and I'm kind of wanting to like go see the other. I mean, I saw the
Thor 2 is funny. Watch it.
I actually saw that one.
That one's the one where the guy who is playing video games is on his couch. That's where he came from. So hilarious.
Gotcha.
That dude that's on his couch is like, oh Thor, somebody on Fortnite is saying something about me.
Oh, I love that scene.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. By the way, this is like a spoiler zone that you're walking into right now.
Oh, my bad. See, that's how you know we're not nerds, because we didn't even think about that.
Right. Well, I mean, I kind of did, but I don't. At this point, I really don't care.
Yeah. So if you're not interested in hearing spoilers, I guess you should turn off.
I guess you should like
come back in like 15 minutes.
No, never say turn off.
Oh, my bad.
You can always fast forward. To when we're actually talking about sports. So.
So good.
So yeah, like, it was one of those things too. It's like it made all the other ones interesting now.
Right.
I saw the first Guardians of the Galaxy. After that, I really wasn't interested in seeing like the second one.
Really?
And granted, like because to me it was just like super corny.
Okay.
But then it's like I saw Infinity War, and I'm kind of like, okay, there's some volume with this, because like Infinity War was the first one where they started to mix outer space with with this character and everything.
That makes sense.
So I thought that aspect was starting to get a little bit interested.
Gotcha.
And then when Bradley Cooper's character, the raccoon, was like the only one left.
Yeah, that was funny.
Like, I mean, to me, that guy always annoyed me.
The raccoon?
Yeah.
But that's his character, though. He's
that's this character.
He's
to
like
be
a wise guy,
obnoxious, and
that's all that is.
And it's like I got that and everything like that.
Yeah.
The thing I thought was funny that they used Natalie Portman's like
Her
likeness
or whatever.
Yeah, and she's not getting paid for any of it because she wanted to get out.
Yeah, but she still showed up at the premiere, though, from what I understand.
Oh, she showed up at the premiere, really?
Yeah, she did. Buddy.
So there's not like a lot of love lost there.
Yeah, there's not animosity. I think she just was done after Star Wars and Thor. Let's be honest, she did it for the money.
Mm-hmm.
You know? She did it for the money. She got paid.
Right. Absolutely.
So now she's probably like, I don't know about that.
But the best part of the movie was like back to what you were talking about, seeing an overweight Thor, because he's supposed to be like this GQ type of guy.
He's a god.
Right. And now he looks like in this movie that like character from Down and Out in Beverly Hills.
Yeah. No, you know who he reminds me of now? He reminds me of that the Big Lebowski or character or something, where he's wearing that oversized shirt.
Right.
It's hilarious.
Right. Just the way he describes things and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But,
like he's always high or something.
Right. My mother, who is dead, and that's Natalie Portman on the screen, who I used to date.
Yeah, I loved Jane. Good old Jane. So good.
But Hemsworth, what was his first name?
Chris.
Chris Hemsworth. Yeah, I don't even know a lot of these actors' names. I like his Australian accent.
Good. Yeah, he's good, man. I mean, in the second Thor, whatever it's called, Thor Ragnarok or whatever it was called, he was hilarious. Him and Hulk, the guy who played Hulk, were both super hilarious. And I really thought that what they did with the Hulk's character was even better, where he's like Professor Hulk or whatever now.
Yes.
Well,
when
smart.
he like was just like I merged the two together.
Right. And that's the best. That's what made it hilarious.
Well, I honestly I think they could only do that nowadays. Like they couldn't do that back even when what's his face was like the Hulk.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Ed Norton.
Oh, Ed Norton. Yeah. There was a dude before that that I think was him
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I didn't watch those movies because I really wasn't interested in them, but
Hulk is a hard movie. See, now that they've made him funny and cool,
right, and they
now
made him likable.
Yeah, now they can do that. But before, like, okay, so all he did was just like smash stuff. Like,
Right.
what's the big deal?
Right, and he would just get big and stuff like that. Like,
Exactly.
but it's like I guess like the and it's like honestly too in this movie because it's like gosh, who was the guy that played Hulk? I'm seeing I see
Mark
faces.
Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo. Okay. Mark Ruffalo, I feel like in the first Avengers movie, he didn't really have a lot of personality.
Okay.
And maybe because that was like kind of like the character and everything like that, and he was just this, I wouldn't say shy, but more reserved type of a guy and everything like that. Didn't want to get angry easily and everything. And,
Right.
But it's like when he infused the two, it was kind of just like he's this cool guy who's laid back.
Yeah.
It's like he finally became himself.
Yeah. No, I agree. But he was awesome.
Right.
And the second one, I think they made his character cool because he got shot into space or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever, whichever one it was.
Are you talking about Infinity War? Or?
No, I think it was after the one with the dude, the robots, Ultra, Avengers, whatever, Ultraman or whatever his name was.
Ultron.
Yeah, Age of Ultron, yeah.
So, I didn't see that one either.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
It's pretty good.
I mean, I saw parts of it.
It's pretty good.
Because it was on TV.
It wasn't like anything to be like, oh my God, it's the best ever. But it was.
My life just changed.
Because when I saw the commercials, I was like, so who's the dude with the red glowing mouth? He's like a robot. Oh, hi, I'm Ultron. And like, it's James Spader. And, James Spader.
I love James Spader, though.
But, James Spader is such his voice is just unique, right? He never really gets any more. It doesn't seem like it'd be a character, like an evil villain character, right? But so that's how he talks. The robot's like, oh, hey. So I'm supposed to be scared of you or something like that. And you're like, what the? You're like, okay.
No, I feel like he did that. I feel like he did that justice.
He did. I said he did a good job. It's just, it was one of those things where it wasn't.
You're not used to it.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, I was expecting like some like crazy character, like, oh, hey, I'm a robot.
Right. Exactly. So are you a fan of? Are you a fan of Iron Man?
The character or the movies?
Both.
So when I was growing up, I thought it was generic. Like, so I grew up a DC fan, whatever you want to call it. I grew up on TV.
I was kind of the same thing too. Yeah.
I grew up on TV stuff. So the cartoons were always DC, and then Marvel were comic books. So I didn't read comic books. So, Spider-Man was my favorite because he was a cartoon.
I liked Spider-Man too.
The Spider-Man cartoons in the 90s were the best.
Yeah,
they were. X-Men. They were awesome. And then, of course, Batman and all those. But, like, Iron Man was just like a cheesy dude in a suit that would fly around and stuff. And I was like, that is weak. But the movie with Robert Downey Jr. changed the game. Because that was like, it was funny.
Right.
It was.
He brought a lot of life to that character.
Yeah, it was funny. It was cool. It was like hip. It was everything that you wanted to be. And from that point, it's like, yeah, definitely Iron Man was awesome.
The dude who did Hustle and Flow, because he was like the original Iron Patriot guy.
Oh, Don Cheadle? No.
The Colonel.
Yeah, the dude, he's on Empire now.
Right, yeah. Don Cheadle?
No, Don Cheadle's the current war.
Okay.
What is his name? War Machine or whatever.
Iron Patriot,
whatever his name is. And then the other dude, what was his name? I want to say it's like Terrell somebody.
Well, anyways, I found out that it's like he was on board the whole time with Iron Man.
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. wasn't.
Gotcha.
Because let's be honest with the actor's career and everything like that, especially where Robert Downey Jr. was, that he just recovered from drugs.
Yeah.
And he wasn't this known commodity. And so I could get it, though, like with these actors that kind of take a risk with playing these type of roles.
Right.
Because the guy who played Harry Potter, no matter how old the guy gets or how many movies he's done, we're always going to remember him as Harry Potter.
Right.
Always.
What's that guy's name again?
Ah, shoot. I love it how we just... you should know this stuff, buddy. You're the one who wants to write scripts.
Daniel,
yes. Daniel Radcliffe.
there you go.
Okay.
See, we make a good team.
We
I'll
do,
come up
we
with
do.
the first name, you'll come up with the last name.
Okay, Daniel Radcliffe will always be known as playing Harry Potter.
Right.
And so it's kind of like once you step into this like role, you're always going to be known for that character. Like
That's
Michael
right.
Keaton, I mean, now he's kind of like stepping away from him, but it's like a lot of people are going to remember him as Batman. Same with the generation that grew up with Christian Bale.
That's right. Well, true.
By the way, too, I know
Wait. Before you move on from this, have you seen the new Spider-Man trailer?
Yes. I mean, I saw it like in theaters when I was seeing Captain Marvel.
No. The new one.
Yes, I've seen that too.
Okay. Because that one doesn't have a spoiler, but the new one has a spoiler.
The new one has a spoiler.
Gotcha. What'd you think?
I liked it. I mean, yeah. It's interesting how Spider-Man's going to evolve. Because apparently he's going to take up the mantle as being like the next Iron Man.
I think it'd be cool.
The crazy thing about that, though, because like in the Batman universe, Batman's always like, I don't want to be known for my identity. I don't want to be known for everything like that. Now in this Marvel universe, Tony Stark is known. Iron Man is this thing now. Captain America, everyone knows who he is and everything. Right. And it's like all this exposure. And I think that's pretty funny because it's like at the same time, him being known as Iron Man, like his enemies really got to him. Like his house got blown up a couple of times and destroyed and everything like that. Which I mean, people found out who Batman was and like destroying Wayne Manor and everything. But I think that's the interesting parallel.
Absolutely.
But your enemies, I guess, always find out who you are.
Nice.
The thing though that got me about this, and like I said, this is like you were walking into spoilers right now because I mean it's been like 2 weeks since it's been out. Probably when you listen to this, it's been 2 weeks. So, Captain America going back and living the life he wanted to live. I thought that was super interesting.
Right.
That this whole time it's like he never wanted to he never really wanted to live this life that he was living out.
Gotcha.
It wasn't desired. It was just what needed to be done.
Right.
Which a lot of people from that generation, it's like that was their mindset and their thought process.
Absolutely.
He wasn't trying to be a superhero. He was just trying to do what needed to be done. You can turn back the clock, and then when he had the opportunity to do that, I thought it was interesting. He just fought the war and just went home.
Yeah. He had to do what he had to do, like you said.
Right.
So,
which like that strikes me, and it's like, honestly too, and this could probably be like a chore of the world. Like this is like the parallel, and this is something like we've talked about before, that this generation that went home after the war and everything like that.
Right.
Our generation might call that boring.
Right.
The stuff they did, the mundane life they lived, but it was kind of like I would rather live a mundane life than like have to go into enemy fire.
True. Very true.
So I think that kind of sort of mellowed them out because it's like because it's like I've seen people, and I'm not trying to knock it if you've done this before, like these theme weddings, destination weddings, and everything like that. I'm not trying to knock weddings, or I'm not trying to knock if you want to do that, if that's your thing, if you want to have an Iron Man, Harry Potter, Batman wedding, go for it. But I'm saying that it's like stuff like that in my grandparents' generation, that was like unheard of.
Right. Tradition is big back in the days.
True.
I think
that's too.
I feel like the Gen Xers and millennials are trying to be original at everything they do.
Right.
And so when they try to be original at everything they do, that means it's like, oh, well, we'll have these weird ass weddings, or it's you're right. I think I should do a Troy to the world, because it's just like the reason why I think people are dying at the Grand Canyon, because everybody's trying to outdo someone else, and they're trying to get the perfect selfie. And so I don't know if you heard this on the news or not.
No,
like,
I haven't.
Like in the past,
Enlighten
like
me.
60 to 90 days, like 4 people died from falling off the whatever thing at the Grand Canyon. Like they have a little platform where you can walk out to be as far into the canyon as possible, over the canyon as possible. But that's what they designed it for you to stay on the platform and take pictures and feel like you're directly above the Grand Canyon. But some genius decided, or let me just.
I always love it when you coin that tag.
Yeah. Well, let me put it this way: 4 geniuses.
Oh, 4 geniuses
decided
now.
that they wanted to get a little bit closer, and they walked over the edge, over the rail, to stand to take pictures or selfies, and ended up falling to their deaths at the bottom of the Grand Canyon.
Oh,
My friends, again, I will have a new choice in the world, but while some might call that a tragedy, I call that natural selection.
Natural selection.
Because that DNA will not continue in the gene pool of humanity.
So they designed that for a reason.
Right.
Kind of like in the hood, you have a liquor store and a gun store.
Right, that's designed for a reason.
So that's designed for a reason, to kill off all the morons.
Apparently, I mean, because they had to be original, and they wanted to make sure that they had an opportunity to take the best picture ever.
I don't know, for some reason when I thought about that, and maybe this is getting back to this is getting back to sports.
Yes.
It reminded me of that kid do you remember that kid a couple years ago when Tennessee and NC State back in 2012? I know I'm probably dating a lot of you guys, but back in 2012 when that Tennessee student like fell from the Georgia Dome.
I don't remember, but what happened?
Well, there's a kid that was regular 21-year-old kid, probably tailgating all day for like a 7:30 kickoff, and what ended up happening, the guy was so drunk that he didn't even realize, because where the railing was at, and he just like fell
Hard.
hard into like the lower deck.
Dang, that sucks, dog.
Because I remember being in the old Georgia Dome. I can't remember calling it the old Georgia Dome, but anyways, I've been up there for SEC championships, and for the recent like Chick-fil-A kickoff game when Georgia was playing North Carolina. I'm just like, I'm up here. I'm like, dang, like that is like, it doesn't seem that big, or that it doesn't seem like you're that far up until you're actually that far up.
Right. Makes sense.
So,
But no, I mean, that's natural selection, dog.
natural selection, I guess. It's weeding out the weak, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's just funny.
It is.
I mean, it's sad because people are dying, but then again, if the reason why you died was because you wanted to take a selfie that was, but this is what I mean, the point of why I told that story is you're talking about the Captain America and how it was boring to previous or the current generations, right?
Right. To do that type of
Yeah,
stuff.
and you're right. It is boring. That's why we keep on reinventing new ways to do the same thing. Like,
Right.
let's be honest. Podcasting is basically radio,
It is.
and we love it.
And guess what? I've always wanted to do my own sports radio show.
There you go. And see, you're not making it like there's some people that like we met at that summit. There are people who make it seem like it's something different, like it's a brand new invention. And the only thing that's new about it is that it's online.
Right.
Okay? But it's not a brand new invention.
No.
The great news is the technology and the equipment is making it easier for people to make their own shows. But it's not, it's not like some revolutionary new concept.
No.
It's talking into a microphone.
That's hooked up to a voice recorder.
That's hooked up to a device to be able to transmit it to the people.
Right, exactly. Exactly, on an SD card. So with that, if you like what you heard so far, I know we kind of went off the beaten path a little bit than what we usually talk about, but if you like what you heard so far, liked the conversation we talked about the Endgame with the Avengers movie, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and this is the beginning of our show. I'm Alex Berger. Alongside me is Steve Choi. Now to get on a topic that I think, now to get my sports audience back, the Atlanta Braves right now, they are 500. They are on the West Coast, and so far it doesn't look good. This is kind of like one of these games playing your favorite team, the Dodgers, that you're trying to measure up, because this might be, again, who you might have to play in the playoffs. If right now you're a playoff team, you're second in the NL East, and it's still too early. Obviously, right now, probably the discussion of you winning the division is out the window for right now, but that could pop back up late July or during the summer months. But right now, I feel like with the Atlanta Braves, it just is what it is. Again, you got talented offense. You just have a bullpen that's still trying to figure itself out, and it doesn't help when you're getting beat by the Dodgers 9-0. And yeah, it's the Braves are a work in progress right now. Just coming to figure out like what type of ball club they are. I mean, we know that they're a team that it's like is explosive offensively, but the bullpen is their Achilles heel.
Well, to be fair, the Dodgers are supposed to be the team, so
true. But it's kind of a series that you measure up to.
Yeah, but I mean, I hear what you're saying. I agree. Braves are. Last year wasn't necessarily a fluke, but it was unexpected. And everybody is sort of hoping for a similar or greater than result than last year. And I think that's fair on some level, but it's unfair in others. It's like sort of like when you grow up and you peak a little bit, and it's like, all of a sudden you got taller faster than the other kids, but then all of a sudden the other kids start growing, and now they're outgrowing you. I don't think last year was an accurate representation of what this year should be. I think they outperformed their expectations last year, and now they're paying for it because people still expect the same thing from that they got last year. Dodgers are going to kill them. Dodgers, their payroll and their talent level is just like so good. My expectation is if they win one of those games, that's a good turnout. If they win two of those games, that's a great turnout.
hopefully they can get a win today.
But the good news is they don't have to worry about the Dodgers just yet. They just got to worry about the teams in their division. And from last time I looked, they're only a couple games back, maybe 3 games back from Philly.
Right.
So, that's excellent.
Right.
That's a series. So
just do what you can do on the West Coast, and then let's take care of business.
And the Dodgers are the only team out there unfortunately, my Giants, when they go play them, they probably should manhandle them. The Padres, we've already seen what they could do. And then the Rockies aren't having the greatest year either.
Mm-hmm.
Diamondbacks. So, yeah, like you said, it's a road game. It's a far away from home game, like Spider-Man. So they can go ahead and just do what they got to do.
It's a far away home from Spider-Man. It is good that Ronald Acuna is back and feeling better, according to some sources. So that's going to help give the Braves great firepower that they need. But having a guy like Newcomb, having Vizcaíno out for the whole year, like I just didn't think, like, we knew that the Braves were going to be good offensively this year, but having these injuries with their pitchers or having to send pitchers down to the minor leagues, this was something that it's like was just you just didn't expect that this was going to happen.
Yeah, makes sense.
I mean, I agree and I disagree with what you're saying there. A part of me thinks that the Braves were ready to take that leap that they did last year, that leap forward, just because of all the talent and all the young and new talent that was there. And it's like a guy like Dansby Swanson, for example, who struggled the past couple of years, that you were thinking that this was that was going to be his year to get it going, and which he did, and he's proved he's proved himself to be the player that we thought he was going to be, but yeah, I agree that that's kind of like down here. I think we're so hungry for a championship on that type of level that we automatically think that they should that this team's going to take the next step to go into a World Series or even a pennant. But I think the realistic expectation is that the Braves somehow make it into the playoffs. And looking at the team right now, if they make it back in the playoffs, I wouldn't be surprised if they get out during the first round like they did this past year.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're totally right.
But, I mean, honestly, realistically, and we're in May, I mean, you really don't think about the playoff picture, but it's kind of just like right now, the realistic thing is hopefully they could probably get a wild card. Let me look at the standings of what's going on right now. I know I'm just saying wild card off the top of my head, but yeah, because you're right, the Phillies are on top right now. The Cardinals have like the best record right now.
Really?
To get a wild card spot. For some reason I could see the Cardinals. Yeah, Cardinals and Cubs right now. Because probably one of those guys in the Centrals, they're probably going to switch places eventually. But they still, on ESPN.com, they still have the Cubs in that leading that division, and the Cardinals just right behind it. So, But at the same time, I mean, if you have a rough month going into um, July or August or anything like that, stuff usually gets flipped. So there is still a way that the Braves could make it into the playoffs. Because they've got a tough schedule coming up towards like the later months. They have to play Kansas City. They have to play Texas. So, those teams for the Cardinals might give them trouble. So, but at the same time, I feel like the Braves offensively just doing what you're doing could get them in the postseason.
I think so. I think, like I said, they're only a few games behind Philly,
Right.
and they're going to probably end one of their last series against Philly. So all they have to really do is just catch fire after the All-Star break.
That's true. That's true. So, and hopefully by like mid-season they get this pitching thing under control.
Yeah.
So,
it's a possibility.
it's a possibility. That you get a guy like Johnny Venter stepping up, Max Fried. So yeah, that was our stuff. Yeah, that was our stuff about the Atlanta Braves. If you like what you heard so far, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. We are anywhere that good podcasts are found. We're on iTunes, Google Play, so be sure to check us on that. We actually have a 4.3 rating on iTunes. So someone thinks we're doing something good.
Yeah, it's much appreciated.
Yeah, so thanks for rating us. If you rated us on iTunes, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, especially what you think of the Braves right now, and how they're going to match up to this West Coast test. Because I mean, right after that, they have to play Arizona, and then they play the Cardinals actually head to head. So that'll be key for the Braves' future this year if they want to play in the postseason to get a good solid win or get a series win out of the St. Louis series. And so yeah, hopefully that can happen. We always try to stay positive here at the ATL Box Score.
Makes sense.
So next, we're actually going to talk about the NBA playoffs. So we're going to do take 2 on this. Talking about the NBA playoffs, that we're in the second round, and Houston and Golden State are tied up. Portland is down 2 games to 3 against the Denver Nuggets. Milwaukee is just destroying Boston right now, 3-1 in that series, and Toronto is taking control of the Philly series, up 3 games to 2. So, Steve, what are your thoughts so far on the playoffs?
It's been a really fun playoffs. This is probably the first playoffs that I've watched almost every single series, and I've almost watched every single game. I watched the quadruple overtime game from with the Nuggets versus the Blazers. That
Dang.
was an awesome game. Like, every time it looked like one team was going to win, the other team would come back. And even at the very end, there was an opportunity to tie it up again, and I was kind of hoping they would. But that series has been solid because each team has shown its strengths and weaknesses, but they keep on coming out. Now, I think the Nuggets are on a 2-game winning streak, so Portland's going to have to do something at home, so that's going to be interesting. The Toronto Sixers series it's weird because Toronto came out, killed the Sixers in game 1, and then they lost game 2 at home, and then they lost game 3 in Philly, and so it looked like Philly had found a different gear,
Right.
and was just going to keep on moving. But then all of a sudden, the last 2 games, Philly, apparently Joel Embiid is sick, has an upper respiratory infection or something like that, but he's not playing well, but neither are a lot of the other guys. So they're in danger if they don't do something quick. I think they'll probably lose in Philly the next game. And then, of course, my Dubs versus the Rockets. Man, that has been, obviously that my team is the Dubs, but it's been a close game. I had to go to a barbecue cookout thing on Saturday, which I didn't. It's not that I didn't want to go, but I don't like watching
Brian.
I don't like watching my games from somebody else's place.
Right. Yeah.
It's just not comfortable, right? And so, but they didn't have the game on anyway, so I made it back for the majority of the fourth quarter and overtime. But I was like, man, we're taking it to them. Like, we're getting close towards the latter stages of each game on the road, but we need to go ahead and do something. But they've been all close games. So tonight's another game. Hopefully we'll win. But that Milwaukee-Boston series, yeah, Boston looks like they're probably done.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm just not surprised with Milwaukee.
Yeah, no, I mean, the first game was surprising because the first game,
Right.
the Celtics beat them by like 22. And everybody was like, oh, the Celtics figured out a way to stop Giannis, which I can't pronounce. I call him Giannis Alphabet because I can't pronounce his last name.
Antetokounmpo.
And so, sorry, Giannis. I mean, I know it's not respectful, but it is what it is.
I doubt he's listening.
If you are, what's up? So anyways, no, but seriously, it was, so everybody was like, oh, Celtics are coming on, but then they lost 3 in a row. And pretty handily, so I don't foresee them doing much. And then I don't know. We'll see about the Toronto series. If Philly can come back and catch fire, then yeah, they can make it a series. Obviously, this is a must-win for the Dubs tonight, for sure.
Oh yeah.
And then the Nuggets,
it's a must win that you don't want this stuff to get out of hand.
Right. I predict that the Nuggets Blazers game is going to go to 7 games. That series is going to go to 7 games.
Nuggets Blazers 7 games.
Yeah.
Who do you think's going to win that series?
It's hard to say, man. Dame Lillard's been kind of shut down during this series. He hasn't had like the big games he had in the first round. So, anytime you have these great players, yeah, like they talk about Steph. Like, okay, so yeah, you've managed to apply some pressure and hold them back, but this is what great players do.
Right.
Is that eventually they'll find the cracks in your defense, and they're gonna make you pay. Or since you guys have been, keeping them below average for so many games, you think, oh, well, we can, now that we got them, we figured it out. And then all of a sudden you take off, you phone it in a couple plays, and this dude goes off for like 40 points. So Dame Lillard, I think potential-wise, on paper, Nuggets should win this. But then the Nuggets have been like playing a lot of minutes. So, and they got a young team. They're the youngest. I think they're the youngest team in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So that with that comes inexperience.
It does, and I really do think it's going to be Nuggets and Warriors.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
Because
I'm hoping so.
I first of all, if Houston, let's make a scenario. If Houston advances, I don't think they know what to do with themselves.
Right.
And last year's Houston team could have possibly advanced.
Gotcha.
But Harden just got too selfish. He got too selfish, and I'm surprised that it's like, again, I'm surprised that that you, I mean, because you guys could put him away in that in the game on Saturday,
Right.
but unfortunately you didn't. That gave him a little more momentum.
Right.
And I mean, because this thing could have been over, and for some reason now it's a series, and hopefully tonight you could show them that it's like, no, this thing's over.
Right.
It'll end soon. It'll
Right.
end in 6.
Right.
Because getting that home crowd, getting back to the Bay would probably do you guys some good.
Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna be there rooting them on, so I'm transporting my spirit to the Bay.
Right. What do you think of this Philly thing going on right now? Because Philly at one time, I mean, they looked like a hot team.
They got so much talent, but they're still so young and so inexperienced. And, you know, it's like Joel Embiid is a character. And so, but there's
character or caricature?
He's a character.
I just wanted to say caricature.
I know. There's two sides of that coin. So there's the one side that's like, oh yeah, he's the, super juvenile, fun-loving kid who's like dunking on everyone, running down the sidelines with his arms out like he's an airplane and all that stuff and doing dances. Yes. But then the other side of that coin is he's mopey and he's easily distracted and he can get down on himself and down on his team. And I think...
Oh, so he's like every young kid nowadays.
Exactly. And that's why I say it's inexperience, right? So as he learns and grows and realizes, wins and losses just come with the territory, and good games and bad games come with the territory, he'll realize, okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and put in the work and the effort and let the results speak for themselves. Right now, he's feeling like if you listen to the comments he makes, he's like, oh, I know I'll dominate. I know I'll do this. It's like, yeah, man, when you become great, you don't even have to say that anymore. No one is telling Kawhi Leonard that, or Kawhi Leonard doesn't have to tell people he's awesome.
Right.
Kevin Durant doesn't have to tell people he's awesome. So you telling people that you're going to be awesome, I mean, that's cool. And you probably will. But that's the kid in you. Because once you become awesome, you don't have to worry about telling anybody anything. And so that's what I see with the Sixers. I see that Ben Simmons is still growing. And the team itself, they got a lot of good pieces on that team. So they should be able to win. But I think when you have your big talent, like Joel Embiid, where he sort of, it depends on what side of the bed he wakes up, then all of a sudden it's like, you're going to live and die by that guy? Okay, cool.
Let me ask you this, because I know you saw Saturday Night Live, and I know you probably saw that part that talked about KD going to
the Knicks. Yeah.
Do you feel like that's a possibility at all, or is that just kind of...
I never thought it was a possibility that he was going to be with the Warriors when all that rumor was going around. So nowadays, and I also didn't see LeBron going to the Lakers. So nothing surprises me these days. Like, these guys have motives that are beyond my comprehension. So some people said LeBron's motives to go to LA is because his kids are already out there. He wants to get into the movie scene and all this other stuff. So cool. Because personally, I don't know why he went to the Lakers myself. And then KD went to the Warriors. That was surprising because they, just beat the Thunder, and you would have thought that he'd want revenge or something. But he went there. So with that being said, I don't know. To me, New York is like it's a bad place to go because the management isn't right. And if the management isn't right, all you can expect, yeah, you could be great and you can have great players, but if your management is like crappy, it's still going to be a weird situation. So if KD's, if he doesn't care, if he's just like, I just want to go there because I'm closer to the East Coast or whatever, then he might do that. But heck, you never know. He's from DC, so he might sign with the Wizards.
Just for the heck of it.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't even know what at this level in his game, he can go anywhere he wants to go, pretty much. Obviously, that team has to be able to have room for him, but heck, they'll trade anybody. Like, I don't think any team is off the table. If I had all the pieces that I had, and I had to make money to bring Kevin Durant on my team, I'm saying goodbye to a lot of people because I'm bringing Kevin Durant on the team. So again, I don't know what his motivations are.
That's
I'm not
pretty
surprised.
much what LA had to do with LeBron James.
Yeah,
They had to get rid of all their veterans, and it's kind of like, okay, it's LeBron James.
Yeah, but LA was in a very different situation because they had already made a lot of room for these guys for a big player. Can't wait to see tonight's game. What comes? I think the conference semifinal is going to be really strong. I mean, no matter which teams actually end up getting out there, you're going to have Milwaukee versus either Toronto or Philly. But I'm feeling like it's going to be Toronto. That's what everybody wants. That 1 and 2 seed matchup, Kawhi versus Giannis. So let's do it. On the West is a little unfortunate because I think because the Rockets didn't finish where they need to finish, you're having what should be the conference finals here in the second round.
Right.
Because I don't think either Portland or Denver is going to be a match for either Houston or the Dubs, whoever makes it out of this series. So, and I could be wrong. I just don't think on paper that either of those two teams are ready to compete at the level that the Dubs and the Rockets are playing at. So
really, you really do think that there's a different level, even though.
Oh, absolutely.
Excuse me. Even though that it's like Denver's had a really good game and had a really good season this past year.
It's not necessarily the level. It's the experience. So you've got guys who make simple mistakes, just like we said with the Sixers. It's like you got some really young dudes on Nuggets. They're the youngest team in the playoffs right now. So, yeah, I mean, they have a lot of talent. But when pressure creeps in and then you got to knock down that three when it's time's running out, or you got, you're down by 10 and how do you come back? You're seeing that in Houston and Dubs. They're down, like the Dubs are down 17 in the third quarter and made that a 4-point game at the end, which they had opportunities to actually tie it up. So you're seeing people with experience and composure to know they're never out of a game. Do I necessarily think that from the Nuggets? I'm talent-wise, sure, they can do it, but it's all about belief. If you haven't been there before, sometimes you just don't have that belief. And that's where I think will kick in.
There you go. That the Warriors are just more battle tested than Denver right now, and obviously experience is like the big key when you're at this type of level. So it's kind of one of those things for the Nuggets where it's like they just had a good unexpected season, but that time is going to run out.
Perfect.
So that pretty much wraps it up for the NBA playoffs talk. Just a reminder, too, we also have our next show that's coming up on Friday, which is Football Friday. And I feel like now it's appropriate that in May, so it's May 8th right now, we're going to be recording that show on May 10th. That for this game, for this rivalry, has gotten a lot of attention on the sports websites. And yes, now we're in an era where we cover our teams get covered 24 hours a day. So there's always some sort of drama that people are trying to make up in the month of May when football season starts in August this year. So, but we're going to get into it because there's been a lot of articles written about it recently here in the local Metroplex. It's been on national radio shows, and we're going to get into the Florida-Georgia game, especially the drama that happened recently that has all went down. So we're going to talk about all those storylines, all those headlines that have kind of come down about Florida people needling Georgia people, then Georgia people responding. So we're going to get into the Florida-Georgia game on May 10th. Yes, this early, but there's been a lot of drama this past offseason that has went down. And hey, at the least, it makes that October. I'm going to look it up right now when the Florida-Georgia game is, because it's either the October 30th, 28th. I know it's that Halloween weekend. So it's October 26th is the no, actually, I'm wrong about that. My bad. It's November 2nd. So that November 2nd date, all this drama has made that November 2nd date something, a November to remember. Let's just put it that way. Or remember that our November, we're going to remember all that drama leading up. So it should be good television when that game kicks off, for good football at least. So we're going to get into the Florida-Georgia game, the nitty-gritty of that in Football Friday. So I know a lot of people have a lot of strong opinions about that game. It's something that you look forward to. It's pretty much what makes or breaks your season if you're a Georgia Bulldog fan. So we'll get into all of that on Football Friday. Don't know who we have booked yet on Football Friday, but we're going to be working on that. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking us out, the ATL Boxscore podcast. You can find us where all good podcasts are found. And again, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, especially if you're listening to this part of the show. We definitely appreciate it, because you don't really have to listen to this part. You can just turn this off. So appreciate you listening to this part of the show, and we just want to, just tell your friends about the ATL Box Score podcast if you think we did a good job, you think this is a cool show to listen to. So put that in the comment section, because we'd love to hear your feedback. We'd love to hear how you guys feel about the show. So thanks for tuning in today. Thanks for listening, and be sure to listen to Football Friday, because we've got some good stuff coming up for you, talking about the Georgia-Florida game and all the good stuff that's happening in college football, because that'll be more of a college football focused Football Friday, not a NFL focused Football Friday like it was for the draft. So be sure to tune in to Football Friday. And with that, you've listened to the ATL Box Score podcast, and I hope that you come back to listen to our next show on Friday. That's when we're going to be releasing our next podcast. So check back around the 4:30, 5 o'clock time frame. That's usually when we release it. Turns into actually a football Saturday. So with that being said, we're at 56. Yes, we're at 50. Hold on, let me check that out for a second. Going on to Podbean. Great thing about Podbean is they always show you how many episodes you have, and I just want to check that just to be clear, because I've been wrong before when I've done this, the outro. Yep, we're at 55, so this is 56. So episode 56 is out.